This is the LEGO Tribute to Jules Verne Books Gift with Purchase, and I think this may be one of the greatest LEGO sets of all time, and that may be the most subjective thing I've ever said on this channel. Remember me, it's Josh from Josh Builds Stuff, and I like Jules Verne more than what most would consider a reasonable amount in today's day and age, hence the hyperbole. But to most, I think they would consider this a reasonable free gift with a rather large purchase. Now, a good LEGO reviewer would be honest, objective, and unbiased. Luckily, I'm not a good LEGO reviewer. Even so, here are the facts about this set. You got a balloon, a train, and a Nautilus submarine displayed in a kind of open book diorama look, and a little spot for our new exclusive Jules Verne minifigure. This, as I mentioned, was a gift with purchase. It was available at the end of June 2024, and you had to spend $150 to get this. For me, I had to get at least two, and to get these two, I bought this, and these, which were also technically free. For those who want my realistic, down-to-earth thoughts, it's fine for a gift with purchase. It was a fun little build. It's a decent size for the price. I think it'll look nice displayed on a shelf with some books, and I think non-enthusiasts won't be sad that they missed it. For those who want my more long-winded, less down-to-earth thoughts, feel free to don your best attire and join me in the library, because Jules Verne was anything but down-to-earth. Heck, most of the time he took us high above the Earth in a hot air balloon, or even further in a cylindrical shell headed towards the moon, or deep beneath the Earth's crust to discover prehistoric creatures, or just a few leagues beneath the sea to encounter fearsome devilfish. Where did my love of Jules Verne originate, you didn't ask? Well, fittingly, it's a long story, but I'll give you the abridged version. I grew up in South Florida, and I went to Disney a lot, and there was a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride at Disney World. It closed in 1994, which means I couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old when I would have ridden. I've always loved Disney. Disney always loved Jules Verne. There's multiple references and allusions to Verne throughout the Disney parks. I've read the Jules Verne books as a kid, and for as long as I can remember, I've fallen asleep listening to audiobooks. Most of the time, that audiobook is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, read for you
by Peter Hussman.
But I will alternate between other Jules Verne classics. So needless to say, my elation and expectations were piqued in both senses of the word at the announcement of this set. And speaking of the set, we should speak about this set. I'll do one of my best good LEGO reviewer impressions and give you some details about this set. And like any good author, let's be thorough. This overall open book diorama design, I like it. I think it's a novel idea. Normally it's the writing that's on the wall. In this case, it's the cloud. This page design isn't terrible because it's made of Lego, not paper. And honestly, I think we did a pretty good job of predicting what this set would look like based on the leak descriptions. Not that that's a special thing, they literally just told us what it would look like. Even still, I like the use of dimensionality on this set. You've got the balloon above, the train in the middle, and then the sub down below, but we've also got some dimensionality of depth being used here, with the balloon a little further back, the sub a little closer to you. Disappointingly though, we don't have time to get into that other kind of dimensionality. I'm talking about the Jules Verne multiverse, but worry not, my fan fiction is nearly complete. Let's talk individual elements, starting with that hot air balloon. It was confirmed on LEGO's website that this is from 5 Weeks in a Balloon. Unfortunately, the colors here make this a blippy balloon. That's B-L-I-P-P-I. If you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, consider yourself lucky. Even so, I assume those colors are just supposed to represent the whimsy of hot air balloons as they've been depicted in movies and media across the last couple of decades. Luckily, I think this set released just in time to slip under the deadline when it would have otherwise needed a large warning label on the front, because this is in fact a hydrogen balloon, which is my first pick periodically, but hydrogen is not my first pick to fill a hot air balloon. 5 Weeks in a Balloon was the first in Jules Verne's Voyage Extraordinaire series, which was the book that allowed him to write full time, and the Extraordinary Voyages are where most of Jules Verne's most well-known books come from. Moving on down the tracks to this train element, depicted with 3 little cars, 2 passenger cars, and what looks like a little steam engine. I assume these are passenger cars because of those bright yellow windows. Looks rather cozy in there. Looks like a nice place to blow off some steam. This train, as predicted, is from Around the World in 80 Days, which makes sense. It's probably why those original leaks called this the time train, because the passengers on the train were on a rather strict time deadline. For those unfamiliar, Around the World in 80 Days is a novel in which Phileas Fogg, a very rich man, bets his other rich friends that he can go around the entire world in only 80 days. And he does so with the help of an enormous amount of money. That's the only reason he makes it. He just buys his way through every circumstance. They say Phileas Fogg had a crazy reason for circumnavigating the globe. I think he had a locomotive. And speaking of, I think the train looks fine. I think think the more impressive part of this midsection is actually that bridge build. The bridge actually bridges the front and back section of the book, as well as being a little artistic and going above that nice little Nautilus lagoon. And speaking of that little lagoon, let's head down there before this train segment runs off the rails. Now, the real reason this set excited me so much upon its announcement, and my very reason for being at this point, did I mention there'd be some hyperbole in this video? It's the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is my absolute favorite Jules Verne book and my absolute favorite submarine that I can think of. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, perhaps Jules Verne's most well-known novel. It's a book in which a couple of castaways find themselves on a large, what they thought was a cetacean, turns out it's a submarine captained by Captain Nemo, and they travel around the world and they go 20,000 leagues while they're under the sea, not 20,000 leagues below the sea. That'd be, I think the farthest depth they go is like 4 leagues down. It's distance, not depth. As for the sub itself, here's what I keep having to remind myself and what I keep having to tell myself and what I keep telling others, despite them saying they do not care, is that this Nautilus is depicted as best it can be at a very small scale. Even so, it has most of the elements you would expect. The large ram in the front, the large viewport windows on the sides, I assume a little hatch on the top, some random venting because that looks cool, and of course the propeller in the back with a somewhat artistically designed tail fin. And here's the problem with the Nautilus in general. When you think of the Nautilus, you either picture the kind of steampunk retro futuristic Nautilus from the 1954 Disney movie, which looks very cool, or you think of the cylindrical cigar-shaped Nautilus as described and as shown in the illustrations in the original 20,000 Leagues novel, which admittedly is a little more boring. And so I think the LEGO designers went for a little bit more of the artistic approach with this Nautilus design, and so again I'm going to say they did the best they could with what they had. Now, a Jules Verne tribute set would not be complete without a Jules Verne minifigure, and if you ask what do you get when you combine an old Alec Guinness Obi-Wan and a goblin, apparently you get Jules Verne, because those are some of the parts that are used to make up this minifigure. Even so, I think if you Google most pictures of Jules Verne, he's shown with a long bushy beard. Here he doesn't have an external beard piece. I think I'm okay with that. I like this as a classy, elegant look. Not the most exclusive minifigure, but he's still officially Jules Verne. He's also got his Peter Quill in hand for writing, and what I assume is a packed up version of his latest manuscript or book in his other hand, ready to be delivered to the publisher. Also, I don't know if, did they have pins when Jules Verne was writing these books, or was he using feather pins or quills? That would be a fun fact to look up, wouldn't it? Fun for another day, of course. We've got to hurry if we're going to catch that steamer out to Constantinople. Okay, overall, this set, like any good novel, has its pros and cons. Pros: it was a great build. Most of that background and floor part, they're built in sideways, a good amount of snot here. Fun little building techniques with that bridge. Didn't take too long, and still it's a good size for a gift with purchase. Cons: you had to spend a bunch of money to get this set, and most people probably don't actually care about the subject matter. And the last con, or possibly pro, is the very existence of this set, because it implies either that LEGO is open to making more Jules Verne sets in the future, or that this is the only Jules Verne set we will ever get from LEGO, and they're doing it just to satiate the small number of fans like myself. But I'm going to hold out hope for more Jules Verne sets. I've said it before, my white whale of a LEGO set, no, I'm not talking about anything from any Herman Melville novel, though I do hear he makes comfortable chairs. My white whale of a LEGO set is a large-scale LEGO Nautilus. Make it $200, make it $400. I think it will sell, and I will definitely be the first in line to buy it. Sadly, at this time, to quote Captain Nemo's second officer, not trom respach lorny virch, which means nothing on the horizon. And so, in reality, was there any way this GWP was going to live up to the grandiosity of this man's legacy? No, of course not. But seeing as how it is only a tribute set, I think LEGO did a fine job. But speaking of hope, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully the people commenting who's Jules Verne in the last video were doing so ironically. Haha, very funny joke. Hopefully, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. We do somewhat unorthodox LEGO content and LEGO reviews on this channel. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get down to the lounge to look at the very large clock on the wall with my very wealthy friends while we wonder if our other very wealthy friend is going to win his bet. I'll see you next time.